Alright, so the first thing we're going to do when we're drafting is we're actually going to create a border and a title block, which is essentially where we put information. So to draw this very quickly and briefly, you would have your page. You're going to make a border. That border is going to be 1/4 of an inch, or if you're working in metric, you can use 1 centimeter. So you'll draw a line within that area. You're going to also then create another area that is 1/2 inch all the way across the bottom, or in your case 2 centimeters, we'll call it. It's more than 1/2 inch, but we'll work with it. And you're going to divide that up into some sections after. So basically within this area is where we're going to put our name, the date, the name of the drawing, what measurement system we're using, and any other important information. So we're going to actually jump into doing that on a full-size sheet properly, and we do actually measure this out very carefully. So I'll show you how we do that. It's a lot easier if you have a drafting table, but we don't have that luxury, so we're going to work on this just on paper, on a desk, and do it fairly rough without all the tools, but we're going to try and get it done so it looks nice. Eraser and a ruler. So I'm going to do mine in inches because that's what I normally work in, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure in 1/4 inch from the edge of the paper on all sides in the corners. So from here I'm going to measure in 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to do that up here as well. And then I'm going to measure from the top down 1/4 of an inch. Sorry if you can't see. I don't normally make videos. I don't have a setup for this. Alright, so I have my 1/4 inch marks all the way around. Oh, I missed one. I'll get that one in there. In this case, I'm using a mechanical pencil because this is what was in that little math kit that I had. You can use any pencil as long as it's sharp. So once you have those corners all marked out, you're going to connect your lines. And I made 2 marks so I know where to stop. So what I like to do is I like to try not to mess up my page. I like to put the ruler close to where I need it on the lines, but if you put it right on the line, your pencil is actually not going to line up where you need it. So if I offset it just enough so the lead hits where I marked, I'm going to get a better line. And then I'm going to draw that line until my other 1/4 inch mark. Now I have a little bit of tape on my page there that is blocking me, but it is there and it is not going anywhere. So now I'm going to do my bottom. Alright, so now I have my border. So you can see right here it's 1/4 inch from the edge all the way around. Now like I said, I'm going to measure 1/2 of an inch up. So 1/2 inch up, and I'm also going to make a 1/4 inch mark up as well. So I'm going to draw both, and you're going to see in a minute why I'm drawing both. So I am going to draw the 1/2 inch line all the way across. Okay, so there's my 1/2 inch line. Now, what I want to include is I want to include my name. I want to include the date. I want to include the drawing name, and I want to include the measurement system I'm using. So that's 4 different areas. So I'm actually going to divide this up fairly evenly, or maybe not even evenly, because I don't need very much room for some of those things. So I'm just going to go 2 inches for the first chunk. I'm going to go another 2 inch, or I'll go 3 inches for the next chunk. And you should follow this same method, so it should look the same for yours as mine. So I have 2 inches, 3 inches, and then I'm going to do another 3 inch section. And then I don't have to worry about the last one, but it ends up being 2 7/16. So now I'm going to connect those lines. Okay, so now I have my 4 boxes. I'm going to now connect those 1/4 inch lines. I'm going to do it very lightly. So I'm only going to leave a very light line here. I'm not pressing hard. I'm hoping you can actually see it in the video, but basically it's just a guideline now. So my next step, I'm going to actually have to put some text in here. And you actually need to try really hard to write very neatly. When you're drafting, you actually have specific requirements for letter size. They can't be over a specific width or over a specific height. So in this case, I'm going to draw my letters in here for name. And I'm going to make my letters about, I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch wide each. Now, I'm not going to set a vertical space. I'm not going to get that detailed, but I'm going to try and write name with a colon in 1/8 inch wide letters. So I'm going to start 1/8 inch in to leave space, and I'm just going to use all capitals, and I'm going to just keep them all the same height. Now, that leaves me with name, date, title, scale, unit. Okay, so this is step 1. This is where you should be, and hopefully you can see that clearly. We've got name, date, title, and scale with unit. That is step 1. Your next step is to fill in some of this information. I'm going to use inches as my unit. So again, I'm going to use my ruler to space out my lettering. You're trying to write the clearest you've ever written before. So my unit is inches. My scale, for me, I'm actually going to do a 1:2 scale. So I'll explain that later, but for now I'm just going to write in 1:2. And the way you write scale is a number separated by a colon. So that's 1:2. So it's a ratio. So to explain the scale very, very basically is what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking a ruler, and I'm going to work in inches, like I said. I'm not working in feet. I'm not going to be drawing anything large. I'm going to then treat 1 inch as though it's equal to 2 inches. So whatever I draw, it's going to be half as big on the paper as it is in real life. So if I had a here, let's take this lens cap and let's measure it. I'm going to recreate this on paper. So if I measure that and you look closely, hopefully you can kind of see here, that measures out to 2 1/8 of an inch. So a 1:2 scale means I'm going to draw this half of its size. So 1:2 scale. So in order to do that, I can take my 2 1/8 and divide it by 2, which 2 1/8 divided by 2 is 1 1/16. So if I want to draw that size, I would just mark from 0, 1 1/16, and that would be the same as this, but in a half size, so 1:2. So 1 inch would actually equal 2 inches. So 1 1/16, if you multiply by 2, is 2 1/8, which is the size of this whole lens cap. Hopefully that makes some sense. Basically, you take an object, you divide it by an amount, and then use this scale to make it. So that's kind of what scale is. If you're confused about scale, please look it up a bit, look at some tutorials, and try and understand what's going on, because you're probably going to use it for this activity. Next thing you do, you're going to put in your name. So I'm going to write my name in here. So I have not a lot of room here. Now for you, I had room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 letters. So for you, what you can do is you can write your first name on the top and then your last name on the bottom underneath in the lower 1/4 inch section. For date, I don't know what I'm going to draw yet. When I choose what I'm going to draw, then I'm going to give it a title. So I want you to try and get this all completed as the first part of your assignment.